Hello and welcome to my home. Today I want to talk to you about planting carrots in your containers for the spring. Now carrots are great to plant in March and April, and they can really be an abundant source of great nutrition and flavor. But before we go there, I want to let you know I have other types of videos on my channel. I have easy to prepare recipes, product reviews, meditation videos, and other videos on growing a variety of vegetables in containers. So come on, let's get to growing some carrots. When you're growing carrots in your containers, you have to take in consideration the type of carrot you're growing. Now, I grow the variety that are not really long. They're not the real big, long carrots you find in your local grocery stores. These are shorter and grow well in container. For example, there's one called a little finger carrots, and that's a picture of that. One called the Parisian carrot, and one called the Royal Châtenay carrot. Now, each of these have their own little different characteristics, and I'm going to talk about that next before we start looking at my notes. So the Parisian carrots take about 60 days. They're kind of round, globe-like, kind of like a radish. So they're really small but very tasty and sweet. They're good for containers, but they're also good if you have a garden bed. It's good for your garden bed too if it's really rocky, because they're not that long, slender carrot that really needs light, fluffy soil. The other one's called the little finger. That takes about 55 days to maturity. They are about 3 inches long, great for the pot. And the Châtenay is about 4 to 5 inches in length. So the container you want to use is a 12-inch deep container at the minimum. This will give the roots enough time to form and become carrots, and they won't be deformed looking because they didn't have enough room to grow. Now generally carrots like that light fluffy soil, so the potting mix is lighter, much lighter than any other type of soil like topsoil. And I'm going to have a side note that when you're doing any container gardening, you're not going to use topsoil, you're going to use potting mix, because that's formulated for different types of containers that you have. Also, you're going to need about 6 hours of sunlight. They can grow in some partial shade. Now, if you're growing these later in the season and it's getting hot, like over 75 degrees, you may need to move your containers to a shadier part of the yard if you can, and that will help keep them going throughout the season. As far as the fertilizer, they like a well-balanced fertilizer. So you want to get one of those all-purpose vegetable fertilizers where there's not a big emphasis on the nitrogen. It's balanced between all the nutrients, and that will give them everything they need to be nice, healthy carrots for you. You also want to keep them moist, especially before they germinate. So I like to place a shade cloth over them to help keep the balance of moisture in there so that they can germinate. I'm going to plant the Royal Châtenay first, and I'm going to just wet this soil a little bit. But before I do that, I'm going to put in some of my all-purpose fertilizer in there. Now the pot that I'm using is 12 inches deep, so that's more than enough. And I'm just going to blend it in. Blend in that all-purpose fertilizer in there. Now the soil, the potting mix that I'm using is Miracle Grow, and it does have some fertilizer in there already, but it doesn't hurt to get some more in there. Now I do like to pat it down a little bit to get the air bubbles out. Just a little bit, because we still want the soil to be kind of loose for the carrots. I'm going to water this a little bit. Let me grab my watering can. And I'm going to sprinkle them over because we're not going to plant these that deep. And what I'm going to do is press it into the soil. You want them to be about 1/4 inch deep So pressing it in will get it there without being too deep. And then I'm going to water it a little bit more, and then I'm going to put a little shade cloth over it. Now this is just shade cloth that I've been using from year to year. They come in big rolls or big flats, and you just cut them to fit whatever. And you put it over, and then when I put it out, I tuck these little ends underneath the pot to help keep it in, or I should say over the pot. And I forgot something important. You have to label so I know what it is. I wrote it on the wrong end. Now as your carrots grow, you see it will start to peek up through the ground. It's okay to put a little soil around those tops that are peeking out to keep it from becoming kind of greenish. And then once your carrots are ready to harvest in about 50 to 60 days, you can tell because they're starting to get big and they're turning orange. And that's delicious. If you like that video, hit the thumbs up like button and consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I've uploaded a new video. That's it for now.